Okay. Garbage is a big challenge. I mean, garbage is a huge challenge in Delhi. You must have seen the mounds that have come up here and there. How is Bangalore going to deal with it? Because unlike Delhi, the Bangalore also witnessed a lot of politics and mobilization around garbage collection and its disposal. How are you resolving,
So,
because you're dealing with so many stakeholders?
yeah. So before I address the garbage issue, we know we should understand a general point about Bengaluru. In Bengaluru, every issue has a high vocal pitch because we have a very active citizenry. We have a very active civil society. And I believe that, I mean, this is, I'm sure from your view, it is debatable, but I believe that the freedom of speech in Bengaluru is far higher because we are a far open society. We are a far more tolerant city, and we have a diverse ethnic base in Bengaluru. So all these have come together to create a very open society. So every problem in Bengaluru gets amplified a lot because we have a very active citizenry. So similarly with the garbage issue also. Now, from the last previous scientific tendering of garbage in Bengaluru was done in 2006. Every subsequent effort to bring a scientific garbage management has been challenged by the various garbage contractors, various stakeholders in the courts, and no subsequent effort has actually reached finality. So we are now, the garbage collection and disposal, or rather management, is running on a 20-year-old model in Bengaluru, which is sort of outdated. The current chief minister, when he was in charge of Bengaluru for the last 3 years as deputy chief minister, he has now brought in a modern garbage management system. And this was challenged in the courts, and by and large, the courts have supported the initiative of the government. So we will institute a new garbage management regime in Bangalore where there will be a lot of accountability. Now, for example, let us say I put 25 vehicles in a ward. Effectively, on any given day, there are only 17 vehicles which are actually collecting garbage in that ward. Now, I don't have a proper mechanism of tracking them, though GPS was made mandatory some years ago. Because these are outdated tenders, and actually, there are no more tenders in validity. This is running on an ad hoc basis. We could not effectively enforce these. If the 30 people are supposed to work in a ward, there are only 20 people working in that ward. So what happens with the new tender that we are going to start implementing is that all these are automated. Every vehicle must have a GPS. Every vehicle has a certain route built into it. So it must go to those points for collection. And we have also better mechanisms to make sure that the garbage collectors go to every household. So once we roll out these new tenders and make sure that they are enforced well, I hope that we will improve the garbage collection and disposal process in Bengaluru also. I'm hopeful that there will be substantial, significant improvement in the coming months in the garbage collection and management as well in Bengaluru.
Okay, let me come to the hot potato issue, because it's a very tricky issue. Everyone wants a good city where the traffic moves fast, but if you ask them to use public transport, people would generally like an Uber, Ola, their
Correct.
own car.
Correct.
I would say, you given a choice to me, maybe I would prefer my own car in Delhi. Sit
Correct. Correct.
in my own car for 1.5 hours rather than switch metros. I can be guilty of that. So
Yeah.
how are you planning to declutter the roads? Because
Yes.
ultimately, when people go to Bangalore, the first thing they tell you is, boss, you must account for the time on road, whether you want to go to office, whether you want to go to the airport, or whether it's a daily commute. That's number one. And what is your vision in terms of mass rapid transport system?
Yes.
Delhi did it under late Sheila Dikshit, and she did
Yes.
I mean, that's a great gift Sheila ji gave to Delhi in terms of
Yeah.
conceptualizing metro. But the other project did not work, in which there were dedicated corridors for buses. There was a lot of
Yeah.
protests, and
Yeah.
it didn't work. So how are you going to deal with Bangalore? Because the city is spreading, the
Yeah.
people are coming. You cannot have a say on that.
Yeah.
Then how do you deal with that? Because
Yes, I know absolutely. Just you'll have to give me 2 or 3 minutes to work around this problem, because the moment you say Bengaluru, traffic immediately comes to your mind. The first thing that comes to your mind is traffic. We need to, address this. See what has also happened. Let us understand the background. Between 2000 and 2025, Bengaluru has grown the fastest in the whole world, not in India. The growth in Bengaluru is perhaps the fastest in the world, the increase in population. So Bengaluru's growth has always outperformed even our projections. So when Bengaluru is growing at a faster rate than our projections, our infrastructure has always been lagging behind for the last 30 years. Number two, last 30 years, we allowed a lot of unauthorized development to happen in Bangalore, meaning very unplanned growth. We didn't enforce planning norms, we didn't make mandatory approvals. So, the localities just mushroomed without following any norms. So, small localities of 1 acre, 2 acre, and small plots, very small roads, no through connectivity, no proper rainwater outlet, no sewage network, no water network. So this happened for 30 years until our government stopped it in. We took a very bold decision. Lot of vested interests were very upset, but in 2024, we stopped unauthorized illegal growth in Bengaluru. We said no more this will be allowed. However, the damage is done over the last 30 years. Now, what is one symptom of the damage? In a normal city, the size and scale of Bengaluru, 15% of the land area should be reserved for the roads. However, in reality, due to the unplanned, unregulated, illegal growth over the last 30 years, only 8% of Bengaluru's surface are covered by roads, whereas the desirable level is somewhere around 15 to 18%. So, on a 8% road network, any number of vehicles are going to be overcrowding. I will give you another data point. Between 2016 and 2026, in the last 10 years, vehicles registered in Bangalore have gone up from 65 lakh to 1 crore 25 lakhs. So current estimates are that in Bengaluru, about 1.4 to 1.5 crore people live, and there are more than 1.4 crore vehicles in Bengaluru. So now I'll come to the question you asked. Is it a mass transit versus private transit? Yes. Look, in Bengaluru, you need mass transit. I repeat, you need mass transit, public solutions. But at the same time, given the abysmally low levels of road network that we have because of the last 30 years of unplanned growth, you need to increase the road network also. So what does it mean in terms of solutions? We have to extend the metro network to about 500 kilometers ultimately. We need to build a peripheral ring road for Bengaluru. We need to accelerate the suburban rail network of Bengaluru. And we need to put at least 2,000 more buses on the road in Bengaluru. Currently, we have about 6,500 buses. While doing all this, we still need to give create more roads. Now, in a city like Bengaluru, you can't widen the roads because it is all built up. Land is very expensive, and you can't build new roads on the surface. So, hence, you need to build elevated roads. You need to build underground tunnel roads. So, only with a comprehensive solution. What is comprehensive? 2,000 more buses in Bengaluru, 500 kilometers of metro network, suburban rail, peripheral ring road, tunnel, and elevated road corridors. So, however, but we must have an integrated approach. So, if you ask me, is it road network versus mass transit, my emphatic answer for Bengaluru is we don't have a choice. We need to double down on mass transit. We also need to double down on creating more road network. And that is our master plan for Bengaluru to resolve the traffic problems. I know none of this is a matter of 1 year, 2 years. These are all 4 year onwards. But in a matter of 4 to 8 years, we are confident that we can provide effective solutions to Bangalore's traffic problems. I know it doesn't, it may not work for the next election, but as long as we are driven by election cycle, that we are never going to get a lasting solution. We have to think beyond the elections, and that's what we are trying to do.
There's an urban conundrum, Krishna, that, post-colonial cities, they have expanded. So you have a greater Mumbai, you have a Navi Mumbai, you have a Mumbai, you have a Bangalore, you have a greater Bangalore. Cities need to stop somewhere. That's when I understand the Herculean nature of the task that you have been given. But what I really want to know is that every city also has a character. It has its heritage. There are things which cities lose. For example, Delhi's have lost its non-perennial sources of water. They have been, turned into nalas. There was a drainage around Raisina which lost when the Latvians built the entire city. There's a lot of build-up in Bangalore. It used to be a city of lakes, a lot of greenery. In your plan of a greater Bangalore, have you got the, let me ask this, have you got the time to account for all that in middle of garbage, traffic and all that? Have you been able to account for reclamation of lake, green area, and where you say, well, this is where my city stops. It doesn't go beyond
Well,
that. Have you ever had the time to think about all these issues?
no, absolutely. We have to think. I mean, it is not an option. We must include these elements as we think about Bengaluru or any other city. But one thing is, there is no stopping Bengaluru, right? If you try to stop also, it is not going to stop, because India is an aspirational country. And people come to Bengaluru, less number of Kannadigas come to Bengaluru. It's actually the net addition to Bengaluru's population, 70% of it is non-Kannadigas. They are coming from all over the country. You can't stop them. I can't stop them. And it is inhuman also to stop them, because, how can you say, Kartikeya, that I, Krishna Byre Gowda, have a right to live in Bengaluru, but you, some poor fellow from some poorer part of the country, you have no right to come to Bengaluru and you have no right to your aspirations. I can't say that. And Bengaluru being the dynamic city, also it continues to attract the best talent at all levels. Number three, Bengaluru is, in my view, in my very humble view, it is the most inclusive and tolerant city in the country. It is the one with the biggest open heart that you can find. So because of all these, Bengaluru will continue to grow. Now, coming to your question about lakes and open spaces. Look, though people may not speak of these as their top three issues, what are the top three issues? Traffic, road quality, garbage, these are their top three issues. But we, as people in a position of responsibility, we have an absolute mandate and requirement to think about parks and open spaces and lakes. Not only that, ultimately, let me tell you, Bangalore is to be a good city. Bangalore is to be a livable city where the quality of life is good. We have to pay equal attention to the cultural facets of the city, artistic facets of the city, sports infrastructure. So, along with that, parks, lakes, and all these, environmental sustainability. Only then we can truly become a livable city. So, yes, we may not speak as often about it, because when we speak, we are trying to address people's issues. And the top three people's issues are, traffic, road, and garbage, and such and such. However, uh, these other aspects of water bodies and environmental sustainability, cultural vibrancy, these are all equally important. And especially in a city like Bengaluru, I've been repeating myself several times, which is so inclusive ethnically and culturally. So cultural diversity and cultural vibrancy are absolutely important for my city. That's the way I feel about it. I don't know how others feel, but that's my strong passion.
And my last question, what is your target 2026? Last question. I mean, so what is one thing you want to achieve for Bangalore this year at any cost?
So I want to, get around this garbage problem in 2026. I want perceptible, tangible improvement in garbage management in 2026. I can name another two, but if you want me to,
Yes.
name one issue, I want to get around the garbage problem.
And what follows? Other two?
Other two will be, I want to make sure that the road surface quality, the quality of roads we build in Bangalore also improves. And that is something, again, which we can do in a short to medium term. I believe this can be done. And also the third issue would be better pedestrian walking surfaces, also something which we can do
That is
in
closest
this.
to
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
closest to
yeah,
my heart. You know,
yeah,
walkable cities are the
yeah,
best cities. They are
yeah,
eco-friendly cities. You don't
yeah.
use your car. You make people healthier also. So the
Yeah,
economic cost which goes in hospitals also come down.
yes,
You know, you
correct.
had lighter, leaner people. So
Yeah,
and
healthier society,
yes,
healthier,
yes.
more sustainable.
So
But
you
having
know,
said all this, these are all buzzwords. I know, they sound very good in when we are speaking to public, but these are all far easier said than done. Let me be very realistic and cautious also. None of these is easily doable. Even pedestrians, which you are also passionate about, it's not easy in a city of 1.5 crore people. One side I go clearing, another side people come back. So this is where I was pointing out that unless people want to join hands to make Bengaluru a better city, I really cannot make it a better city just because 2-3 people want at a position of responsibility want it. But what I can say is that there will be no shortage of effort from my side. I'm going to keep banging my head against it. So try my best, and I hope we make progress.
no, no, it can be done. I've seen it. We have seen it in Delhi. You know, I have no. I understand that hawking is a very complex social issue, but I must congratulate you, Mr. Gowda, that you have taken a very important issue head on, because of everyone has a stake to the various parts of the city, and an ability to walk safely is something which is fundamental, because 80% of the time people end up walking on roads. That's where the accidents happen, and people don't talk about that, because
Yeah.
sometimes, and I will frame it, you don't need to react. This whole perversion of the politics of social justice has actually done lot of harms to tough decisions which politicians could have taken, but they cannot take, because the way it gets framed in public narrative. So I congratulate you for taking these issues head on, and I hope you succeed, Mr. Byre Gowda, in making Bangalore beautiful again.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you so much.
Karthikeya. Nice
Thank you
talking
so
to
much.
you.